self-care and self-love. What is it? How is this going to help us, especially in this day and age, you know?
Yeah. So, my understanding of self-care, and I suppose most people's, is the looking after of your body, your mental state, your emotional state, being kind to yourself, right? And I mean, it's, again, a subjective ideal, right? What works for me is different to what works for the next person. And it's about being fully cognizant and wanting to learn what are the things that actually constitute a self-care for you, right? I mean, I know for me, coming home, taking a shower, and it sounds like such a mundane thing, right? But it's the time where I'm reflective. It's the time where I'm alone most of the time. It's the time where I'm looking after my body, my physical body, right? Acts of looking after my physical body are acts that I find to be my form of self-care. Yeah.
Just not even just like the physical, just like the emotional, the mental, just almost like getting yourself in a space where it's just you, you know, you're almost like unpacking the day, you're asking yourself, okay, this is what happened today, how are you feeling about it? Are you okay? Are you not okay? Do you need to, you know, go out and talk to someone? Do you want to go buy yourself something nice to eat just to like, you know, reassure yourself? So it's kind of like a bit of everything, you know, self-care is just a bit of everything. It's sitting and immersing yourself in music at the end of the day with, or putting on like your favorite song loudest, blasting it and having like a dance party by yourself in your own space. Exactly what you were saying, just trying to do the things that will make me happy at the end of the day. So like, you know, almost like offloading if the day was quite heavy, which usually it is, especially if you're working, just offloading. That's basically what I feel like self-care is.
It's the thing that I really love, and it's you can't pour from an empty cup. So self-care for me is pouring into my own cup before I can pour into the cups of other people. And the thing about self-care and self-love is that, like you guys saying, you know, things that you do in your space when you're by yourselves and all that, right? And whatever I do in my space affects what I do in other people's spaces, right? So if I'm not, I don't know, if I'm not given the time, if my boss expects me to work around the clock because I'm working from home, and I'm not given the time, again, given is a very problematic word, to take care of myself, that's going to affect my productivity. Directly, you know? That affects how I show up at work, that affects how I engage with other people. So for me, it's essentially, it's just pouring into my own cup. It's about, and I know, you know, for the past few weeks we've been grappling about how do we practice self-care within the world of work, because that can be like a very toxic environment. And for many women it has been essentially that. It's been a very toxic environment where you're supposed to be a robot. You're not supposed to have other responsibilities other than work. So how do we take what we do in our personal spaces and introduce those into our workspaces, introduce that to our colleagues, our bosses, and all of that?
I think, and I hate that this is how change is elicited most of the time, right? Like the ground level, kind of grassroots kind of change, right? Where people say no. Where people say, I mean, we shouldn't have to, it shouldn't be our burden, it shouldn't be a thing to begin with. But a big part of self-care is saying no, right? And as we know, there's like power in numbers. There is power in numbers. And I think a big thing that employees are going to have to do, right, is learn to say no and assert that right? And create a culture where no doesn't mean you're losing your job.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're on
Yeah.
a warning or disciplinary hearings or whatever goes on, right?
Or get treated differently by
Yeah, even the subtleties.
Yes,
Yeah.
the subtle things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one way we can begin to have the conversation of bringing self-care and making it, like harmonious with us being employees.
No, I agree. The asserting boundaries is definitely a big one because that kind of draws out your space and how far you're willing to go. In order for you to still be okay and still be able to function and work
Yes.
without feeling so burdened and toxic and
Yeah.
I think, so for me, obviously saying no is a boundary for me. And the thing is, there's this culture that's sort of been created around boundaries that you're not supposed to have boundaries, And I've never understood how, if I say no to you, how you get upset with me, So I definitely think saying no is a way that we can practice self-care and self-love in the workplace.
Yeah.
Again, asserting those boundaries. And there's something that we do, right? Although there are days I'm just like, I don't want to do this. But we, whenever we have a meeting, we do the check-ins.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? What are your hopes for the week?
Mm.
All of those things. There are days I'm like, not this again.
Yeah.
But I'm also realizing the importance of that. And one thing that I also love is that there are days when we will start a meeting and someone will say, today I'm not feeling okay. And we've normalized that.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
okay.
okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And someone will say, guys, I'm not having a good day. I'm not going to do work today. And we're all just like, okay. And life moves on. And that for me is embracing the human element.
Yes.
Because before anything, you're human. Again, you can't pour from an empty cup. I cannot expect work from someone who is dying.
And insofar as you want a non-human, get robots. Leave me alone.
No, honestly, I think it's something profound, but like I don't know why it has to be profound to acknowledge your own feelings. I don't know why it has to be. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen a lot of companies do this. It's probably like maybe one or two that have started introducing like the human aspect within work. So like it shouldn't be profound to say I'm not okay, to express your feelings. Because as much as you were saying the other day, you're like, okay, we can just start and get to work. For you, that might be the day, but it might mean the world to someone in your team to ask, how are you feeling today? And then they're like, okay, I'm not okay. And you're like, all right, I'll give you a few minutes or half an hour. Like, for example, if you've come into work already and you yourself are prepared to do the work and you say, listen, there's a nap pod or there's a little cafeteria.
Yeah.
Just, take a few minutes to yourself. Try and, I don't know, do whatever makes you feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And if it's not working, then take the day off.
I actually remember there was a time when we had a meeting with someone, right? And this is not something that I think it was our very first meeting with this person. And so we did the check-in. How are you doing today? And she literally I think she was just taken aback.
Really?
She was. She was taken aback. And I think she was just like, wow, I haven't asked that in a really long time. And I think that's when I actually really understood that, oh my God,
It's bad.
And just also understanding the importance of the activity, How are you doing is a very important question.
Yes.
Because we sometimes, some of us, mindlessly just move through the day.
Yeah.
And not realizing we're carrying so much heaviness. And just for person to ask, how are you doing? And to cater to your needs, which is also a great way of introducing self-care in the workplace. catering to the next person's needs. Understand that today is not a good day.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I like that you said catering to the person's needs, because you know we can all say how are you,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone can say we're fine.
Yes.
That's how we've been
Yeah.
programmed.
For sure.
Right? How are you? I'm fine, thanks. Cool, great, bye.
If you're asking that question, ask it with an openness of whatever answer,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a willingness to get whatever answer
Yeah.
and to cater to that answer.
These are the things that just need to be introduced into the workplace as a how are you? Or like how are you really?
Yeah.
Not just like a
And we always
passing
unpack it.
Mm.
You know, we always unpack it. I'm not having a great day. Why? This and this and this is happening. Oh, sorry that you're going through that.
Right? And this is, yeah.
Are you willing to continue with the meeting? Yes, I am. No, I'm not.
Yes.
And it takes
And create a safe space for people to do that.